night and the dream were long.
Hey there everybody, welcome to a special BlackCross Platinum's Bloodborne. This video is going to be leading up to the part where I platinum the game. But, it's taken me a long while in order for me to figure out, because I've already gotten most of the trophies so far. I've already completed the two other endings, which is basically to either submit your life or to defeat Gammon without absorbing any of the 1/3 umbilical cords. I got those two, and then I've also got the Blood Gem Master, or Master Blood Gem, and then I've also got the what was the other one? I forgot now. The Hunter Ecstasy, which is to attain all of the Hunter weapons. So, after doing all that, I went on ahead to try to figure out how to get the last trophy, which is basically the optional boss that you can fight in the Chalice Dungeons, or at least in one of the Chalice Dungeons. And I thought that you would have to go into all of the individual Chalice Dungeons in order to get to it. That is not the case. There's a certain particular path and a certain particular series of chalices that you need. So you don't necessarily have to have played through all of the Chalice Dungeons in order to get to that one. There is a set way to do it. And no one's actually done a video of that. I've checked. They've shown each individual ones, like certain ones, how to beat certain ones, and then they show how to beat the boss, but they don't show how to get to it. So, I'm labeling this video BlackCross Platinum Bloodborne, and basically it's going to show you how to basically platinum Bloodborne, or in my case, how to get to the boss itself. So this will probably be the most helpful video you'll watch, if anyone does watch it, which I hope you all watch it, and I hope you do enjoy it so far, because I've loved Bloodborne. I mean, seriously, it's literally one of my favorite games of all times at this rate. Literally, right at the top 5, literally. It's hard to believe it too, because at the time Dark Souls was my absolute favorite, and now Bloodborne is. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about how to get to it. Okay, so the first thing you have to have is basically the Workshop Haze Extractor. Now, to attain it, you have to go through the Chalice Dungeons themselves, but it's inside the second layer of Lower Perennialill Chalice. And it can be found before you fight the boss that's in the Lower Perennialill Chalice second layer. Before you fight the boss, there will be a side door in the pathway where you go from like the dungeon to turn the lever, and then there's that hallway that leads to the boss. There'll be a door on the side. Go to the door of the side, and there'll be a secret entryway that leads to the Haze Extractor. Once you get to it, you'll be able to attain it. Now, because the dungeons are randomized, you'll have to map it out yourself. It's not really that far out, so you'll eventually find it. It basically looks like one of those treasure rooms that you get like a large amount of ritual materials, and then you'll get the Workshop Haze Extractor. Now, like the name says, basically is at the workshop table inside the Hunter's Dream. And the way it works, you're able to use it to extract Arcana Haze from ritual materials. So, like, say you had like a whole bunch of ritual blood material. you can extract one of them to give one Arcana Haze. And all the materials have different amount of Arcana Haze that they can give you. Really, you only need a certain amount because you're only going to use them for 2 different dungeons. And like I said, I'm going to tell you exactly what materials it required to get into each in particular dungeon. So, hopefully you'll be able to get enough Arcana Haze to where you're able to enter in each individual each individual dungeon. The first chalice, the way to attain it, you have to defeat the blood-starved beast from Old Yharnam, or the bottom of Old Yharnam, where you get the first chalice. After you beat it, you'll attain the Perennialill Chalice. And once you get it, the only materials needed is the Ritual Blood 1. You only need 2 of them, which is pretty easy because you do find it as you go down there. On your way down there, you'll find it, so it's not that hard. You can easily get it right then and there. The way to get the next chalice, like I said, they're all in order, so you don't have to worry about going any different way, different direction. Go into the Perennialill Chalice Dungeon. The third boss, which is the Watchdog of the Old Lords, once you beat him in that dungeon, you'll be given the Central Perennialill Chalice. And that particular one requires Ritual Blood 2. It requires 6 of them, which by that point you'll already have the materials needed in order to enter in it. So you shouldn't have to worry about farming any items. Thankfully, I haven't had to worry about it. Now, enter in that dungeon, and the third boss in that one, which is the, if I can pronounce his name right, Perennialill, I think it's how it's pronounced. The guy that has the one scythe, and then halfway through the fight, it separates them into 2 scythes. Beat him, and you'll be given the lower Perennialill Chalice. And to use it, you need Ritual Blood 3, you need 9 of them. Now, record, you also need Blood Echoes, but luckily I've got the picture showing what you need in order to get into these dungeons, so don't worry about it. And like I said, you'll have already gotten the materials needed by this point. Now, enter in that dungeon, and the third boss, which is the Bloodletting Beast. Beat him, and you'll be given the Defile Chalice. And the Bloodletting Beast, most people are confused by this one because they say he's hard. This is not the one you have to worry about. Mostly because he's not really that hard. I promise you, this version isn't hard. It's the headless one that is hard, which I'll talk about later on in the video. But you beat him, and you get the Defile Chalice, and the materials needed for it is Ritual Blood 4, 9 of them, which you might need to farm those up, but they're not too hard to get. I promise you, they're not hard at all. Bastard of Lauren, you need 2 of those. Now, those are going to be a different story altogether. To attain a Bastard of Lauren, you have to enter in the Erling Lauren Chalice, which to attain it, you just have to beat Erebith, daughter of the Cosmos. Beat her and you'll attain that chalice. And then you can enter in that dungeon in order to attain the Bastard of Lauren, which you only need 2 of those, so don't worry about needing to get many of those. Just enter in the dungeon and acquire just 2 of those. If you can get 2, you're done with that dungeon. So don't worry about it. After you get that part done, you're ready for the last portion of what you're going to need in order to get to that dungeon, which is to enter in that dungeon and beat Amidala. I kid you not, the third boss in that dungeon is Amidala. I'm going to tell you right now, though, that dungeon will be hard to beat. I kid you not. It is hard. Mostly because your HP is reduced by at least, I want to say at least 40 to 50% of your HP is reduced. So in other words, most of the enemies, if not the bosses, can one-shot hit you. If you're lucky enough to survive one hit, chances are you'll be fine. But if you get hit once and die, it will be a hard chalice to go through. I promise you, it is. And I was able to get the footage of me fighting Amidala, but not the footage of me beating her. And there are different strategies of how to beat her. Some say to attack her head on, some say attack her arms. My strategy was attack the tail. The tail is the safest place. Record, you may die a lot still, but practice with this one, and I promise you, eventually you'll be able to beat her and get the last chalice needed, which is the Great Perennialill Chalice. Now then, this one's going to be tricky, but you shouldn't have to worry about it, because the majority of all the trophies, if you're going to be platinuming this, you won't have to farm for any of it. I promise you, you won't have to farm for any of it. So, first off, Ritual Blood 5. The materials for it, you shouldn't have to worry about farming for it. I say you shouldn't have to worry because if you play through the game 3 times, like you're going to, because the only way you're going to get the 3 endings is if you play through the game 3 times. Which, at this point, if you've already beaten the game once, you'll be able to play through it 2 more times. It's not that bad. But, the Ritual Blood 5, there is an item loot in the Upper Cathedral Ward on your way to Perennialill Emissary, which is the boss before you fight Erebus, Daughter of Cosmos. Before then, you'll find an item loot, and it has 3 of the Ritual Blood 5. So, by the time you loot it 3 times, you'll have the 9 needed, so you shouldn't have to worry about farming. Chances are, though, you'll probably find 1 or 2 as you go through these Chalice Dungeons themselves. Now, the next item being that of the Red Jelly. If you do what I do, play it 3 times, you'll actually have 6 of them. Why I say that? Because the Red Jelly, you get 2 of them when you're in the Nightmare 2nd layer building. If you watch my video series like you have, you'll notice that I have attained the Red Jelly, and there are 2 of them. Go to that same room on your 2nd playthrough or 3rd playthrough, and you'll have the 4 needed. So you shouldn't have to worry about farming any of the Red Jelly. You shouldn't have to worry about farming it. Arcana Haze 25. Like I said, again, you shouldn't have to worry about farming it. Mostly because if you have the Workshop Haze Extractor, you'll be able to get it easily. I was able to get a total of 90 relatively easy because of all the materials I had. Mostly because I had the tomb mold. I had so many of those, so I decided to extract all of them, and that's how I got the 90. I just used materials that I wasn't going to use in order to get to this point. So after that, there's the living string, I think is what it's pronounced. To get it, and unfortunately I didn't record it. I should have, but thankfully there are people out there who've actually recorded how to get down there. But to get it, you have to kill the mother brain, which, if you saw my video, on your way to get the blood rock, pull the lever to make certain that the mother brain goes down, then go down to a certain elevator, and you'll reach to the bottom abyss, walk straight, and you'll eventually find her. She doesn't attack, so don't worry about her killing you. Just kill it. You'll eventually kill her, and you'll get the living string material needed in order to basically enter in the Chalice Dungeons themselves. Now, here's something you need to know, and I didn't record it. I should have, but I didn't. Mostly because I didn't know how many times I was going to die. What you need to know is that these next bosses, before you get to the boss itself in that dungeon, they are hard. I'm going to tell you right now, they are hard. Which, that's to be expected of Bloodborne. It's a hard game. But these bosses literally will kick your ass. If you made it this far, chances are you'll be alright. But if you made it this far, they will kick your ass. The first boss isn't as bad. It's basically the Perennialill Descended, but it's in a long corridor hallway, not an open area. So it's kind of a cramped rooms. So chances are you're going to get killed very quickly. But I've learned that if you practice with fish rolls enough, chances are you'll survive and you'll be able to kill it with no problem. So just practice with fish rolls and you should be able to kill him perfectly with no problem. Someone said that if you can get behind him as he's getting ready to separate his sights into two, if you can just charge attack and hit him before he separates them, you can glitch him to where it cancels out and he has to redo it again. I wasn't able to do it, but someone says that you can do it. So if you think you can do it, go ahead and try it. But I would rely mostly on fish roll attacks. So get your blunderbuss, shoot away at him before he attacks you, and then freaking nail him. Second boss, Bloodletting Beast, the headless version. Holy crap, he's hard. There are so many people who have different strategies of doing it. I'm going to tell you right now, try whatever works for you. I tried using my Brutal Blade with him. Used my Brutal Blade, and I tried the best armor with physical damage. And basically, I just ran right at him. And I stayed underneath him. Now, he does a stomp attack, but I was lucky enough to hit him enough times to where all I had to do was basically just nail him so long as my stamina was there. And then when he got ready to stomp at me, I just basically tried to dodge as much as I can. Now, record, I did die a lot to him, but I finally was able to beat him. Thus, I was ready to go for the boss itself. So, yeah. That's basically what I've been working on with that. I was trying to figure out how to get to it, what's required, and everything like that. But I noticed that no one's made a video of this. So I figured for you guys, I make a video on how to get to the secret boss of Bloodborne. I call it the secret boss because it's the only boss that's actually in a Chalice Dungeon that is required a trophy. None of the other bosses require a trophy. Record, you do need the 3 Chalices to get the trophy, but there isn't another boss that is a trophy requirement except for that one. So that's what I thought was interesting, with the fact that there was no other trophy for the other bosses, but just that one. And I guess, I'm thinking the creators wanted you to think that you had to play through all of the dungeons just to get to that one. But I found out an easy way to get to all of the other dungeons without having to play through all of them. Trust me, there are a bunch of them. I think there's like 20 of them, if not more than that, which is insane. Very, very insane. But this video will help you out tremendously. Number 1, for figuring out what you need to do. Number 2, to plan out how to get there. And like I said, there's a bunch of videos out there that shows you how to beat these bosses, but there's no video that shows the pathway or what chalice is needed, what materials are needed. So I figured I'd put together this video for you guys. And this video is going to be released before the actual video of me platinuming the game. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helps you out. And I hope you watch me platinuming Bloodborne. It'll be out soon. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Leave comments. And as always, as I said before, hope you have a wonderful day and may God bless you. This is BlackCross signing off. Take care, guys.